we're here to talk about some of the Bosch 180 and 360 degree cameras, and I have the group here with me, and we all have some different experiences with them. And the first was Joe Barnhart, our newest member of the team, has done installations, project management, knows the Bosch equipment inside and out. But we did a demo last week, and he learned something. So I'll let him explain what he learned, and Rick's going to drive the bus and show you exactly what his was thinking.
Thank you. So what I found out is that 360 not only always is capturing this image here, but it actually has a dewarped mode, which you can do some pretty cool things with it. This is a crop view, which you can move around inside that pane. And this is the multi-pane view, which actually splits the view into 4 different panes that then can be moved around inside of those panes in different angles. And this is the panoramic view of the camera. The cool thing I found out about this also is it's always recording that whole image.
Correct. So the warped image is always being recorded no matter what you're viewing. And I think that's what blew away the customer also when we showed them that was they thought whatever was being displayed was the only part that was being recorded. But when we showed them and told them about it, now, again, in this environment, they're capturing everything all the time. There is no downside to it. So, again, was a big takeaway with that customer. And needless to say, and for yourself also, you got to see it in a real-world situation. Rick, when you're dealing with customers that are calling in and emailing, what are some of the applications and how are they using 180s and 360s?
Yeah, so it's become very popular. It's a pretty hot item. But this scene that we showed before is a pretty good one to help me explain. So that's just one camera showing 4 different images. On a lot of applications, you've got one room. You can't use so many cameras for many reasons, like your DVR doesn't have that many inputs. Yep. You might not have the cabling going to 4 different spots. You only got that one spot, and you want to see this whole entire room. That's been the application I've seen where you're minimizing the amount of cameras that you actually need just to see a very large area. And
if you minimize cameras, you minimize storage, bandwidth, but also big thing, licenses. Yes. In the IP world today, it's all about licensing, and how the least number we have, the less expensive the system is. Right. So
installation costs, cabling, all that stuff.
I was even at a university the other day, and they actually back charge, or the IT department charges the security department for every IT drop. Oh, right. So now I only have one IT drop, one IP address. I can reduce my overall cost because I'm getting more performance from the camera. So again, things to think about. Ari, you said you've had some applications in the retail side.
Whenever we have high-end retail, we tend to have a lot of shoplifting. We tend to have a lot of people concealing and removing items from packages and then leaving. When we have jewelry stores or high-end makeup or clothing, we get a lot of shoplifting, and traditionally it's been very difficult to get full coverage. Traditionally we've got lots of blind spots, we've got lots of overlapping shots, and before we used to have to choose the most important spots to cover, and we used to have to just sacrifice some other areas. Now when we go to a panoramic shot, we can get everything at once on a single camera, right, and we never have a situation where somebody's out of view of the camera. Gotcha. It's really hard to prosecute somebody, even if you have them taking the item, if you have if they're ever not on camera. So
gotcha.
Now, once you have a panoramic view, you can get them from the time they actually take the item to the time they actually walk past the cashier and then leave the store.
Okay, yep. And believe it or not, what leads into, on the retail side, what I've worked with a lot of is money rooms. Sure. Money rooms, sometimes they put 6, 8 cameras in their directional cameras, and they still can't capture everything. A lot of them now, they're putting 1 or 2 360-degree cameras in, and they're getting much more coverage than at that point. Some of the other customers that really like the 180s for a long hallway, they centrally locate the camera in the hallway, so they're able to see down one way, up the other way then at the same time. So they're actually able to capture a lot more information, where before we needed 2, 4, sometimes 6 fixed cameras, communal areas, congregation areas where a lot of people are. Again, a 360-degree camera captures a lot more of that information. So again, there's no blind spots. They can't go into a corner of a room or a back area because they're being captured then at that point. Cafeterias, front offices, visitor areas. Again, these can all be covered either with a 180 or 360 degree. I know the one application, it's sort of a gotcha with these cameras though too, is can I get an area? Meaning, if you have a low ceiling area, the way these 360 degree cameras work, they don't work 180 degrees straight out. The lens does come down and taper a little bit. So again, in a bigger area, you may need a 14, 15-foot roof area or ceiling area to be able to capture everything. So you're able to capture from a long distance, 40, 50, 60 feet away, still the head of somebody and not just from the waist down. So again, some considerations you got to utilize. The other one that Joe and myself, we were at a location, the ceiling height was so high, they couldn't use a 360-degree camera because they were going to have to stub down a pipe down so far, about 20 feet. What was going to happen, it could have wobbled, especially depending on vibration in the building. So here we were looking at using 180 degrees and putting them on the walls and tilting them down a little bit. So again, limiting our blind spots, but also able to cover as much area as we possibly could. And a lot of these areas, even because they're putting 360s or 180s in, they're going to utilize sometimes a PTZ then, a pan, tilt, and zoom, specifically if they have an operator. Reason why, now they're able to see everything, but if they want to get a ton more detail in that back corner because something's happening, now they can use the pan, tilt, and zoom and optically zoom in versus digitally zoom in. So again, getting much more detail, much more information of the people. So again, these cameras have a lot of features and benefits, but we also got to make sure we're utilizing them in the right area, in the right environment. So again, a demo like we did, getting Rick involved with it, getting Ari involved with it, making sure it's the right camera for the right application. So anything that we can definitely do to help with that, do a site survey, call us, let us know.
Sure, there's always a chance that an insider is going to identify the blind spots and then maybe take advantage of that. But a 180 camera or 360 camera, definitely not a one-size-fits-all application. You've got to get a site survey. We've got to make sure that it's the right application for the right job.
Absolutely. Yep. And the big thing is with these cameras too, remember you can use them for indoor applications and outdoor applications, but again, making sure you got the right parts, pieces, housings, mounts, brackets. Sometimes that's more critical almost than anything with these cameras. So.
And one of the applications we're running a lot into is stairwells and being able to see up, down, left, and right. These panoramic cameras do great with that. Another thing that we at Chesapeake and Atlantic Marketing have are some accessory items that help this camera. There's a custom wedge mount, so when a 180 degrees camera is looking out, we like to tilt it down a little bit so you don't get unusable scenes of the sky or sort of things
so
like that.
So less of sky, more of down underneath, so less blind spots at that point. Yep. And the other big thing to take away, with all these applications and viewing, what you see here, also you can get in playback. And if you're viewing a specific area, you're also able to play back anywhere because you are recording that warped image. So all the information is able to be played back, digitally zoomed, pan and tilted around. So again, as Steve always says, like his mother used to have eyes in the back of her head. Same way here. It's the same way. We're able to view, but we're able to play back also from any of the images then at that point. So it really gives you a lot of advantages.
Right. Yeah. I remember as a technician just starting out trying to get capture incidents happening in stairwells with these giant box cameras with these varifocal lens or even these prime lenses, trying to make sure to tilt it and make sure to get it in just the right spot, and then sooner or later somebody's going to destroy that camera.
Yeah, or take a broom or something and push it up or whatever. Oh yeah, yeah. So Steve and Joe and Nick are working on that next video.